Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are diving right into our St. Paul Grade 8 objective, which is all about comparing characters' perspectives and traits using textual evidence. We're really going to focus on sharpening those analytical skills, so when you're looking at a piece of literature, you aren't just reading words on a page. You're genuinely getting to know the people inside the story.
So, before you jump into your independent reading, we need to nail down the analytical tools that help us separate what characters do from how they actually see the world. It sounds pretty simple on the surface, right? But it actually takes a really careful, critical eye. When authors build complex characters, they give them distinct ways of acting and distinct lenses through which they view their surroundings. If we mix those two things up, we end up missing the deeper meaning of the whole text. First up, let's lock down our definitions. A character trait is basically a repeated pattern. It's something the character does consistently enough that we can back it up with hard evidence from the text. Think of a trait as this deeply ingrained part of their personality. Like if someone does something brave just one time, well, that's a brave act. But if they consistently face their fears across multiple chapters and different situations, then brave becomes a character trait. We absolutely always need that repeated textual evidence to prove it.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, especially when we contrast it with traits. Perspective is all about a character's internal interpretation, or their unique point of view regarding what's happening around them. It's the specific lens they use to view the world. You could have two characters standing in the exact same room, witnessing the exact same event, and they can walk away with two completely different understandings of what just went down. That is their perspective at work.
Okay, let's model this distinction with a completely invented scenario. Imagine two students, Maya and Jordan, and they both just missed their morning bus. The literal event is completely identical for both of them. The doors close, the bus drives away, and they are left standing right there on the sidewalk. But to actually understand their traits and perspectives, we have to look really closely at their individual reactions to this shared event. So Maya interprets this missed bus as a completely unfair setback, while Jordan sees the exact same event as a chance to help a younger rider who just dropped their folders. Right off the bat, we can see two incredibly different worldviews. Maya's lens focuses on the negative impact on herself. She views the whole situation as a personal injustice. But Jordan's lens immediately focuses outward. Jordan finds a silver lining and an opportunity to assist someone else in that exact same predicament. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why we need to separate evidence from assumption. We have to look at their observable words and actions first. For example, Maya sighs loudly and crosses her arms, while Jordan bends down to pick up the dropped folders. Those are the literal observable actions. From those actions, we can then infer that Maya's motivation is rooted in frustration, while Jordan's is rooted in helpfulness. So, the huge takeaway here is that we have to act like detectives. We need to carefully distinguish what literally happens on the page from the assumptions we naturally make as readers. Honestly, this is where a lot of readers trip up. They read an action and immediately jump to a conclusion, totally without realizing they're making an inference. Good literary analysis requires us to draw a hard line between the textual evidence, like the literal actions and quotes, and the assumptions we are building on top of that evidence.
To do this efficiently, we have a really handy 5-step repeatable routine. Check it out. First, identify the detail. Second, name the trait or perspective. Third, cite the evidence. Fourth, compare the two readings. And finally, step 5, revise your inference when new evidence appears. And remember, this isn't just a one-and-done exercise. It's a loop. As you read further into a story, a character might do something that totally challenges your initial assumption. When that happens, you just apply this routine again, compare the new readings, and revise your understanding.
All right, let's do a quick pause check to make sure we've got this. If I say, Maya threw her backpack versus Maya felt the universe was against her, which of those is observable evidence and which is an inference? Take a quick second to think about what we just discussed regarding separating the literal text from our reader assumptions.
Got your answer? The immediate answer is that throwing the backpack is the observable action, while feeling targeted by the universe is an inferred assumption about her internal perspective. Think about it. You can physically see a backpack being thrown. You could literally film it happening, but you can't physically see someone feeling like the universe is against them. That's a conclusion you draw based on how intense her action was. Let's move right into our second pause check. Which type of evidence would best support a comparison of Maya and Jordan's traits? Think back to our earlier definition of what separates a core character trait from just a fleeting emotion or a temporary reaction to one single event. The correct reasoning here is that you absolutely need evidence showing a repeated pattern for both characters.
Since a trait, by definition, must be a repeated behavior, it can't just be a one-off reaction. If Maya gets upset about the bus, but then handles 5 other setbacks with calm grace, easily frustrated definitely isn't her character trait. We'd really need to see her react with similar frustration to forgotten homework, a changed schedule, and a difficult assignment to truly lock that in as a trait.
To quickly recap, a character trait is a repeated pattern proven by clear evidence. Perspective, on the other hand, is a character's unique internal interpretation of the events happening around them. Distinguishing between the two by carefully separating observable evidence from inferred assumption is how you truly unlock a character's motives. Now, open your authorized copy of Hamadi to record one detail for each character, one supported trait, and one comparison of their perspectives.